Hi, Stephen Lovely here again for cordcutting.com. Today we're taking a look at the Amazon Fire TV Cube. This is a big, cubish version of the Amazon Fire TV, which you probably better know as a stick. The original Amazon Fire TV and Amazon Fire TV Stick are now combined and simply known as the Fire TV, which is shaped like a stick. This one is the Fire TV Cube, and as you might imagine, it's shaped like a cube. That's not the only difference, of course. The other big thing about this is that it has Alexa on board, which the other Fire TV does, but this one functions a bit like a smart speaker, sort of like an Amazon Echo or Amazon Echo Dot. It listens to you all the time, and it can do things for you, answer you, even when your TV's not turned on. In fact, that's one of the big gimmicks here. You can say, Alexa, turn my TV on, and this thing, which is attached to your TV, will turn your TV on for you. That's one of the few features that makes this a little better than the Amazon Fire TV, just plain Fire TV. But it's also more expensive. It'll retail for $100. So before you plunk down a whole $100 for this guy, let's take a closer look at it. We'll take it out of its box, we'll put it through its paces, and we'll test it out on my TV so that you know whether or not to buy it for yours. So what do you get when you open up your Fire TV Cube box? Well, no particular surprise, you get something that's shaped like a cube. This is the Fire TV Cube itself, of course, and it comes with a few buttons on top, including quick volume control. The volume control is not for the TV necessarily, it's really for the speaker that is built into the Fire TV Cube, because this thing acts quite a bit like a low-rent version of an Alexa speaker. Low rent, I mean only because it's not blasting out the kind of high-def audio that you might expect from an Amazon Echo, but it does do the things that you might expect from an always-on, always-listening Alexa device, including, interestingly, turn on your TV once you've got it set up with the TV. Also included in the box, of course, is the remote. This is the familiar Fire TV remote. There's no difference between this one and the one that you get with a Fire TV stick. It's got the volume, it's got the little directional buttons and the OK button in the center. Familiar scroll wheel style, just like you would see on other Fire TVs, as well as on some competitors like the Google Chromecast with Google TV. Next, there is the wall plug, and that is not a wall wart combo with a USB cable. It's an all-in-one thing. You have to plug this thing into the wall. There's no way to pull some sort of partial cable out and plug it into a USB port instead, but that's okay. I found that it wasn't too hard to make room on my power strip, and I hope that you can find some space for it on yours. A couple other things to address in this photo that are not strictly optional. On top of the batteries being included, which we love, we've also got the two dongles, pretty much, two add-on adapters. One of those is the infrared receiver, and that is because this is not exactly a point anywhere remote. This is similar to your old school TV remote. You've got to be pointing it at the thing that is supposed to read it. So if you've got this Fire TV Cube in a spot that is hard for the remote to see, you might plug in that little adapter and snake that little receiver around so that you can get an aim at it without having to move everything around. The other thing that I thought was really cool here is we've got an adapter that adds an Ethernet jack to your Fire TV Cube. Now this is huge because Ethernet cables will let you change from a Wi-Fi connection to a wired connection, and that's always faster. Wi-Fi has come a long way, don't get me wrong, but when you're running something over wires, you know, the way God intended, you're just gonna get a faster connection. You're gonna take your Wi-Fi out of the equation. You no longer have to worry about range and whether or not it's getting blocked by something and so on and so forth. Just plug one end into this, the other end to the router, use a quality Ethernet cable. You can check out more information on our guide to Ethernet cables on cordcutting.com, and you'll get a faster connection that will give you better streaming more often than not. Now, let's take a look at the back of this real quick because there's some ports that I wanted to mention. Going from left to right, you have a simple USB port. That's actually a micro USB, I believe. You have the infrared jack. That's where the infrared extender goes that I mentioned earlier. Snake it around your TV and get a good view from your remote. You have the HDMI port. That is, of course, for the HDMI cable that will connect this to your TV and share all the sounds and video that you need. And finally, the power port there. That just goes with the power cable. No surprises, nothing weird. So let's plug it in and let's turn it on. Now, looking at the actual Fire TV experience, we see something that we're used to from the Fire TV stick. There's nothing really different about this screen that would really clue you into the fact that you're using a Fire TV Cube instead, other than that on board the specs are pretty fancy, and we know that when we're sitting on the couch, we can speak to Alexa without having to hold down any buttons on our remote. But again, other than that, it's very much the regular Fire TV experience, which is a good experience, particularly if you're into Amazon's ecosystem. I don't think it's strictly necessary to be a huge Amazon fan to love the Amazon Fire TV platform or the Amazon Fire TV interface. It's well organized, it's smart, it supports a ton of apps. It's great even if you're not a big Amazon fan. But it gets even better when you're a big Amazon fan because Amazon does a great job of servicing the products and services that it offers itself or offers through its various platforms like Amazon Channels. So in other words, if you've already rented or bought a lot of movies using Amazon's platform, then you'll find them right here in your library. And in fact, this is kind of reflected in the way that it's organized. You'll see that getting to your screen of apps, the way you might be familiar with from a Roku, or for that matter with your iPhone or Android phone, those tiles or lists of icons that let you open up individual apps, those are really not surfaced too aggressively in this setup. Here, Amazon Fire TV is more interested in letting us see all the different things we can watch without necessarily having us dive into those apps. And there's two reasons for that. One, of course, is that this gives them plenty of room to put the Amazon movies and shows that you've rented and bought or might rent and buy all over the place so that you'll stay inside of Amazon's ecosystem and keep watching what they want you to watch. And the other thing is that it makes it very convenient because they're actually also surfacing things from other streaming providers. You might see options from HBO Max, or you might see options from Peacock, and so on and so forth. Google TV works very similarly, the Chromecast with Google TV that's built on Android, and it's a little different from what you might expect from Roku, where you generally dive all the way into an app to look at that app's selection. The idea here is to get you hooked on this way of presenting your streaming options. You'll see everything in one place without having to go through one app, then back out, and then into another, and so on and so forth. And of course, it pays off too, because sometimes they'll tell you something that you can't watch yet, but that you can watch if you sign up for that service through, you guessed it, Amazon. Voice search works great. Everything else works great. It's really very familiar to anyone who's used an Amazon Fire TV stick, and it's really top of the line quality. The only question really is whether Amazon's Fire TV Cube adds enough to the Fire TV stick to be worth the extra money, because this is not a cheap device. This is around $100 rather than the 40 or 50 or even less, depending on the sale, that you might pay for a streaming stick, including Amazon's own Fire TV stick. Ultimately, I think it's got a lot of things going for it, but I'm not sure that I'm ready to say that it's well worth all the extra cash over the Fire TV stick, which is less a knock on Amazon's Fire TV Cube and more a way of praising the Fire TV stick, which remains one of the best values and one of the best streaming sticks that we have ever seen. So there it is, the Amazon Fire TV Cube. I was really happy with this overall in my trials, and I wasn't surprised because I know the Amazon Fire TV platform and I know that I like it. It's a really good way to stream, and it's particularly nice if you're already into Amazon's little ecosystem. If you own a bunch of movies on Amazon, if you subscribe to streaming services through Amazon, those are all surfaced really, really nicely in the Fire TV interface. That said, you get the Fire TV interface with the much cheaper, regular old Fire TV. You don't have to get the Cube to get almost the exact same experience, at least while you've got the device on and you're streaming. Where this comes into play, I think, is if you're more of an Amazon household, if you already have Alexa involved, if you're used to speaking to her, if you don't really want to turn on your TV and you'd rather have her do it, then this is probably worth the extra cash. Otherwise, I think it's more of a personal budgeting decision. I don't know if this is that much better than the regular Fire TV. All I know is that I was very impressed, and if you can afford it, then great. If not, you've got plenty of other options with the regular Fire TV, and for that matter, with Roku and some of the other devices that we recommend. So that's all for us today. Thanks so much for spending time with me. Hope to see you again here on the channel if you like and subscribe, and I hope to see you on cordcutting.com as well. I'm Stephen Lovely. Thanks for hanging out.